This is the Ruckus and The Menace podcast.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
Anthony for three. Bang!
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and sports fans alike? Welcome to the Ruckus and The Menace podcast. I'm Ruckus the Menace.
I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
And on this episode, we are going through the first bits of the early winter meetings as far as MLB free agency and players changing teams, and recapping the 13th week of the NFL season, predicting the Division II college football semifinals and the Army-Navy game, and giving a major update to some scales on the misery index, and then recapping a primetime game that we had while playing another one. And it's an old favorite that Ruckus has gotten himself enjoying in playing some Deal or No Deal. But on that note, Ruckus, how have you been holding up?
Well, I've been decent. I don't know if the audience realized this as this just started up. I created a intro for our podcast, and hopefully, if you don't know, we do a good, bad, and ugly section, and we call it the Eastwood section, and the good, bad, and ugly theme was barely in the background, but I'm just hoping that YouTube decides to be nice to us and not give us a claim saying, yo, take this off. But either way, we have a first time ever intro to the podcast. This is very new. I was thinking about it for a while, but just didn't know when the right time was. But anyways, if you listened to it and you thought it was cool, give us a like. If not, that's okay. You don't have to do anything. But anyways, enough of that. For myself, I've been playing Miles Morales, the PC port, and it's been a lot of fun, and just been catching up with other games too, and watched some YouTube and some football. How about you, Spennis?
I've been trying to keep up with a little bit of the football, but then I've been doing been playing Pokemon Violet and working on some things for the next few months, because this is going to be pure unadulterated chaos, and just, it's Christmas time. It's the holiday season. Trying to get a few things squared away there. We had some friends over the weekend. That nice bit of time. I'll be out of town this weekend, going down into the Roanoke area for a couple days, for about a week, or no, not a weekend, or like a weekend, not a week, but setting up a lot of different things for the holiday season. But we're still in sports season. I mean, it seems like every day is sports season for us, but we now can enter the starting lineup. And one of the main things that we had kind of leading up to last week just became official, that Coach Prime is going to a Power 5 school, and he is now the Colorado Buffaloes head coach, and his son will be the starting quarterback.
And he don't give a damn what you think.
But the biggest thing he said to Colorado is that he's coming. I mean, he was pretty much, that was like the main thing of of his speech. But I swear, I think a lot of this is just trying to do this for just Dion. But Dion is Dion, and you can. But you can't doubt that he was able to do all right at this coaching thing. We now can welcome to Cooperstown the crime dog, Fred McGriff. And then Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Kurt Schilling were denied entry. Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and Ohio State are your 4 teams in the college football playoffs starting at the end of the year. We are now approaching the quarterfinals of the World Cup. The U.S. was eliminated in the round of 16 by the Netherlands, who will be playing Argentina. England will be squaring off with France. Croatia squares off with Brazil. And in a stunning upset over Spain, Morocco will be taking on another fellow neighbor nation in Portugal. The Pirates, in the first ever MLB draft lottery, have won the first overall draft pick, while the Nationals will be picking second. And the 2022 Walter Payton Man of the Year nominees have been revealed. While my team ended up having Charles Leno be selected, there was absolutely very little surprise as to what was going on as far as who Ruckus's team nominated.
Patrick Mahomes, baby.
And
Honestly,
although
I'm very happy about that.
But I know that even though we just went through a little bit of a starting lineup, I know that I'm probably going to get a little grief from maybe the Kelsey brothers on this, but this is not the only bit of new news that we have going on.
As Mahomes on that show last week, I'm just gonna go new news.
Yeah, just hit the low part.
New news, new news, new news.
I guess I don't know if I was trying to sound more like Travis or Jason at that point.
They kind of blend in with each other at times, let's be honest.
But face it, there's nothing better than Fat Batman.
Yep. And Big Yeti.
Big Yeti. All right, Ruckus, let's go for the MLB free agents that we've kind of had so far and kind of get a little bit more of a breakdown on what we think of some of these moves.
Don't mind if I do. All right. Well, the New York Mets lose DeGrom to the Rangers, and Bruce Bochy comes out of retirement to manage Texas. Astros lose Verlander to the Mets, which bolsters their starting rotation over in.
Stop. Now, the real question with these first two is, does this look like a very fair trade-off for the Mets? You get a healthy, or you lose a guy who's injury prone, ship him off in free agency to Texas while you acquire a shorter deal with probably about the same amount of money per year, but yet the pitcher that you picked up, granted that the two major things, number one, he has never pitched in the National League, and number two, even though he's an AL Cy Young Award winner recently, number two, this pitcher's about to be pushing 40.
I mean, how old is Max Scherzer compared to him, and the accolades that Verlander has compared to Max?
Hang on. Max Scherzer, oh, he's young. Scherzer's younger.
Okay, yeah, he's 84.
Scherzer's about, yeah, not much younger, but
has it? So Mad Max has only had one surgery so far, and is to like repair his elbow, right? Or was it mainly just a dead elbow after a lot of use in a game or a season, I should say?
I mean, I think he might have had, and I know he was dealing with back issues at a certain point too. But Justin Verlander, Justin Verlander is about to be 40. He'll be 40 by the time the season begins.
Also, the reason I point out the Mad Max thing is because he has a longer contract with probably either more money or about the same cash that Verlander is getting. And he's also kind of in that same realm of injury proneness that DeGrom had too. So I feel like
Scherzer. I mean, Scherzer's dealt with a little bit, but here's an interesting thing. This reunites two of the major pitchers from the 2013 Detroit Tigers.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know if this is like an equal trade or if Verlander's better than DeGrom. All I know is both pitchers are good. Yes, DeGrom's had some issues, and so has Verlander, but it seems like DeGrom has had more issues recently. But we will have to see how that turns out next season. You want me to keep going, or?
Yeah, because DeGrom is 34. So you're trading away for 5 years of age a pitcher who's got some real nasty stuff. But now we hit another main event free agent with your next one.
All right, Dodgers lose Trey Turner to the Fightin' Phils. It was a 11-year, 400 some. Here, let me look it up.
I don't even think it was that. It was like 11 years, 300 million or something like that.
Yep.
Like, it was comparatively like a cheap, like that deal is cheap.
Yeah, that's like maybe 20 some million a year. Maybe.
Yeah, you're somewhere. Yeah, you're under 30 a year if it's 300 on the dot.
Yeah,
so
it's not a whole lot, but I mean, it's not a whole lot in the fact that it's a friendly deal for the team. And then next we have Tajuan Walker, or
it should be Taijuan Walker.
Yeah, I'm terrible with names. Taijuan Walker, 4 years, $72 million with the Fightin' Phils as well. Then we have Andrew Heaney, 2 years, $37 million with the Rangers. Then we have Mitch Haniger, that goes to the San Francisco Giants for 3 years, $43.5 million. And then we have Cody Bellinger going to the Cubs for 1 year, $17.5. You have Josh Bell going to the Cleveland Guardians for 2 years, $33 million. You have Masataka Yoshida for 5 years, $90 million, going to the Boston Red Sox.
Though they also will have to pay Japan, the team left in Japan, another $15 million. So it's really about $105 million when you structure it out, including the extra fees.
Yeah, the imports in a sense. Yeah. And then Wilson Contreras, 5 years, 18 or not 18. 5 years, $87.5
million
to the Cardinals. I feel like that's gonna be a big bolster to the Cardinals' offense/defense. We'll see about defense though.
It leaves Contreras with big shoes to fill with replacing Yadier Molina, but I think it's a solid pickup for the Cardinals to be able to do that and feel like you're not losing a step.
Hey,
now going back to the
at least it'll be Yoshida, like Allstate. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now to go back to the Yoshida one, that actually is a. I like this move for Boston as well because he hits for contact primarily and will get on base, but don't count out the pop in the bat. And he's no slouch on defense. So I think Boston, if they can get a very good run out of him, I think he'll be just fine here. I mean, and Kind Bloom getting a little more aggressive with the buying this offseason, which was a little bit more to be expected. And then, of course, you were just getting to the Kenley Jansen deal, which...
I was going to backtrack to the Yoshida as well. When you said get on base, it reminded me of that scene from Moneyball where Billy Bean keeps, like, snapping his finger and pointing to Pete.
He gets on base. He gets on base. That's the biggest thing that I've seen. And that's, like, when I looked him up, it was, like, that was the biggest thing that you kind of saw. But who were other notable players from that Japanese line that kind of notably that he gets on base? I mean, Stephen Kwan. Stephen Kwan was having a great year in Cleveland because he was getting on base.
If you want to go back a little bit, Ichiro Suzuki.
Yes, well. Ichiro. I was tracing it right back to Ichiro. So this Yoshida deal, I mean, Japanese imports are a little bit of a mixed bag coming here to the stateside. But the ones that have made it, or the ones that do well, do very well here.
That's for darn sure.
Yep. And then the Kenley Jansen deal, which you were just going to mention, the 2-year, $32 million deal. It's about time Boston was able to just spend a little bit of money for a solid closer that might be able to do something.
Yeah, but he still has that. I don't know if he still has that heart murmur that he had a couple years ago, but I would keep an eye on that as time goes by.
I mean, of course, but then you had kind of really the last two are kind of really some minor deals with Tylon and Quintana. But another major thing, none of the big name shortstops outside of Trey Turner have been acquired yet.
Also, did we talk about Aaron Judge?
Judge staying put. Yeah, we didn't even put that one in here. But Aaron Judge choosing to stay put.
9 years, $360 million.
Kind of saw this coming. But where I was saying, none of the other big name shortstops you still have on the board, especially the shortstop position. You still have Xander Bogaerts on the board. You still have Dansby Swanson, Carlos Correa. So looking like they're still pursuing suitors, which isn't too bad. But it leaves for curiosity who's really going to pursue. And I think we'll kind of skip the simulated games because we really don't have a ton to talk about there. So let's just go straight into the high heat. Let's just go straight into the high heat, which is the Week 13 recap.
All right.
Ruckus, who was your most impressive team this week?
My most impressive team was the Minnesota Vikings after they scratched and clawed their way through to keep fighting against the Jets. Or Jets, Jets. See, I'm getting better. I swear.
Yeah. Yep. As for me, I took the San Francisco 49ers. And here's why. They take a nice, huge blow early in that game with losing Jimmy Garoppolo. And this backup quarterback, the Mr. Irrelevant of a draft. So this guy's going through all the roasting, the Lozman Trophy, and all this. Which also, by the way, another notable Mr. Irrelevant in the NFL who's kind of had a long career, Tampa Bay Buccaneers kicker Ryan Suckup was also a Mr. Irrelevant.
Also former Chief.
Yep. I believe he was a Chief when he actually was Mr. Irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this guy was dealing with all the stuff that comes with being a Mr. Irrelevant, which actually is quite. And and then he becomes does a solid job to keep the 49ers in a game that they probably very well could have defeated themselves with losing Garoppolo. My most disappointing team this week is the LA Chargers.
And mine is the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, and then the sad state of affairs that eventually came from the Tennessee Titans in that they fired their GM after the game. They fired the GM after the game. But my reason for the Chargers was they just could not get anything done. Like, they were really
lost.
Yeah. But the Raiders are starting to come around. Like, they're kind of allowing the Raiders to kind of hang around, but the Chargers are being disappointing even with all of their injuries. The most impressive player for you this week?
A.J. Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles, wide receiver. Having a game.
Swole Batman.
Isn't Devontae Swift, or what's his name?
No, you're talking DeAndre Swift?
Yeah, wait, no, that's for the Lions.
You took Darius Slay?
That's a cornerback. I'm thinking of the wide receiver for the Eagles. Don't they call him Sexy Batman? It was some...
I thought that one might have been... No, there was Slim Batman, which was Devontae Smith.
That's who I'm thinking of. Devontae Smith.
That was Slim Batman. A.J. Brown is Swole Batman.
And then Sexy Batman's Jason Kelsey?
I think it's really Darius. I think Kelsey was trying for Fat Batman, but... But I think Slay was trying to put him toward Sexy Batman.
Alright, Spanis, what's your most impressive player?
Sorry, Ruckus. Gotta do it. It's Joe Burrow this week for me.
I honestly don't care. We didn't lose that bad, okay?
But Burrow, I mean, despite having really 286 yards and 2 touchdowns, it just seemed like any bit of that pass rush the Chiefs were having on him, he just was finding a way out.
It was like that for the past 2 games before that, too. We couldn't get to him.
Yeah, but it's Joe Burrow leading the Chiefs. They were down 24-17, and they came back with 10 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, for Joe Burrow to just orchestrate all of that and to be able to do the things he needed to get that, I just was impressed with the same consistent amount of poise that Joe Burrow is just putting to this quarterback position.
I mean, it also helps that they had some stuff go their way, obviously, with the strip fumble to Kelsey and the couple stops they had on defense. It really helped Joe Burrow get to where the position he was in that game late.
But football is a game of momentum.
Right.
So don't get that wrong. Okay, so now we go to the Eastwood segment.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
This is your good, bad, and ugly. All right, Ruckus, tell us something good.
All right, something good. My good this week is Pacheco with a good running game against the Bengals. Even again, I don't know. He just looks very good against them. It seems like he's just showing up every game just ready.
Oh, he looks fast. He runs angry. He's still somewhat of a slender guy.
Oh yeah.
But he may be slim, but this dude runs angry. He runs angry, which in a running back you kind of want that.
Uh-huh.
think my good here is that the Lions are regaining their roar over the last few weeks. This was a team that at the very beginning of the year, I was saying that they were playing better than what their record showed. Then they started to just kind of flop, have some injuries, fall completely off the radar. Dan Campbell probably coaching with his job on the line, probably still is, but there's one thing the Lions have not done, and that is that they have not wavered from buying into what Dan Campbell has been bringing to them.
At least not yet.
Oh, yeah. But Dan Campbell is probably one of the easiest coaches to get behind, especially because he's a former player that kind of just gets a little hyped up.
Yep.
Champ, I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
I won't come at you like a spider monkey. I threw Grandpa's war medals off the bridge.
My gosh, I wasn't wanting that to go that far, but
I mean, we're quoting Talladega, okay?
I gotcha. What was your not so good?
My bad was the Ravens just struggling to get it done against a team that has been struggling to get any offense of progress to go at all for themselves, and that's getting it done against the Broncos, but just slightly better. I mean, it's sad when a very bad team like the Broncos only gives up 10 points against a team that probably should have had more points on the board. Even though Lamar Jackson was out, somehow, someway, Tyler Huntley came in and single-handedly put himself in the end zone.
Yeah. But my bad this week might have been a little bit of humor involved with it. Teammates colliding into each other. The New York Giants, in overtime no less, Saquon Barkley and another player trying to collapse in to go for like the read option type of ordeal. The players collided into each other, breaking the play.
I just think of like Fred Flintstone or somebody just going bonk right into like concrete or something, and then having like the stars over their head.
Oh no, but there was one that was a lot worse than that. That honestly, I died. I died laughing at it. Jerick McKinnon. So yes, I put the Kansas City Chiefs in here. Jerick McKinnon. Where this one was more like that full speed ahead, crash into the wall, and just the crawl afterward.
Yeah, I was shaking my head whenever I saw that live. I was like, what the hell is going on? Alright, you ready for my ugly?
Yep.
Alright. Okay. My ugly this week is the Bills are number one in the AFC for bye right next to Kansas City, which both teams...
Due to a tiebreaker.
Yeah. Yes. But the only reason I say it's ugly is because the Bills are in a predicament where they've had kind of a hit or miss. And the same is going on with the Kansas City Chiefs, but in a different way. But I have that as an ugly because God knows what's going to happen. It's a very tough situation, it seems, at the moment, and maybe I'm creating a bunch of hoopla in the process, but that's the whole point of the ugly. Go ahead, Menace.
If you're catching my drift, I think it was a SpongeBob reference I was going for with that.
Yep.
But
Oh, I hear you. I get it now because I said hoopla.
Yeah.
Hoopla.
Yep. But my ugly was kind of bad lower body injuries to quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson messing up his knee. Jimmy Garoppolo suffering a fracture or broken bone in his foot. That's going to have him miss some time. And just those two injuries as a whole, especially because both of those teams are right there in their hunts for the playoffs, this ain't good. And especially because most of their opponents kind of coming up down the stretch are going to be quite dangerous. And Baltimore still has to play Pittsburgh twice. So what was the best game for you this week, Ruckus?
My best game for this week was the Jets and Vikings, just strictly because of how the ending became what it became. As the Jets tried to come back, but fell just short in the end by the Vikings intercepting Mike White at the end of the game on the last play of the drive.
I am taking Commanders Giants. Yes, I am taking a tie.
That was still a good game, by the way.
Oh, every single point in that game was earned. The fact that Washington was able to hold the Giants back to Graham Gano kicking the final field goal 5 yards beyond the range that he wanted to kick it from or felt comfortable kicking good from is huge. It's huge. Then on top of that, there is a little bit that I'm going to mention about some of the end result of this. This will come back later. But it was a game full of like back and forth, earn it action, just to end on a massive cliffhanger. And what was the worst game for you this week?
Well, I kind of already alluded to it, but I have the Ravens and Broncos as my worst game, because good lord, it was bad. Chef Russ couldn't even make a bowl of cereal, because it was all over the floor. He was not cooking gas. Well, we'll just say that.
Broncos country.
Let's cry.
I burn the fries. I burn the fries.
Broncos country. Let's cry.
Let's cry. Yeah, because that was definitely bad. But my worst game, I was going to have the Lions Jaguars here. But then Sunday night happened.
Me laughing cynically because the Colts got a new one teared into them.
The Colts right now are a team that look like they probably should not exist.
Dude, they look like they should be playing on Saturdays instead of Sundays. You're welcome.
I think the Houston Texans are probably a lot more like that. But I'm sorry, at this stretch right now, the Colts look like they probably could barely hang with any of the teams going into next year's XFL.
Don't give Jim Irsay any ideas, because he might have an Irsay about that.
I'd be surprised if Irsay did it. But then he would have to smell what the Rock is cooking.
Do you smell? No, I'm just kidding.
I saw where you were going with that. Bold take, Ruckus.
Alright, my bold take for this week is, I believe the Jets are pulling what the Raiders do every year in the AFC West, but in their division, AFC East, I feel like they're going to fall apart.
Well, Here's where I'm gonna. Here's where I would say. I would say the point is let me rebuttal here because I do want to kind of see what the Jets' last few games are going to look like. Just before we kind of say that they're probably going to fall apart even further.
So are you saying you're cooling your Jets?
Or I'd say let's cool the jet. Let's maybe cool the Jets the hair, like maybe just kind of take a little bit off. But the last 5 games do contain the Bills, the Seahawks, and the Dolphins for the Jets. But they also have the Lions and Jaguars. This looks like they probably will go 2-3. Looks like a potential of 2-3, and they finish it at a 9-8 record. They might be just on the outskirts of the playoffs. But my bold take does come off of my Commanders Giants best game. The aftermath of Commanders Giants and how the NFL decided to structure it has put Washington in a tight spot following their bye week. Now, hear me out. Due to the tie in Sunday night's game, the NFL decided to flex the Commanders and Giants from what was potentially a 1:00 spot to the prime time spot on Sunday night.
Because the Chiefs and Broncos, because the Broncos suck too much. That's why.
Again, Broncos country. Let's cry.
Yep.
But along with that, the last matchup ended in a tie. So there's drama. But after the game, the Commanders have a short week while the Niners have a little bit more time to prepare. And in week 16, the Commanders have to travel to San Francisco on this short week. So that does not bode well for the Commanders' positioning. So to have only 6 days of rest in between, granted, you go back to something like that down the line for the next matchup against the Cleveland Browns. But the short week in between the second matchup with the Giants and the 49ers matchup kind of makes this a little more chaotic than what it should be.
I agree.
And what is your burning question here?
This is going to be a very controversial one, but also a very important question. And that is, what is the Chiefs' kryptonite? Is it the Bengals? Is it the red zone as of late? Who knows?
Say red zone offense is
It's
a
been
kryptonite.
It's been our kryptonite for a little bit there. But I feel like it's also a little bit of defense, but I feel like it'll get fixed here and there. To me, the Chiefs' defense in the beginning of the game is like an AI trying to learn the moves and the rhythm of what the offense on the other side is trying to do versus doing too much and then getting burned by it later. I feel like that's what they kind of do every game. And then eventually later on it gets better because they just read the signs and read the situation better too.
But the Chiefs ultimately, the road for them is fairly reasonable. You have the Broncos, Texans, Seahawks, Broncos, Raiders. So there's 3 winnable games left. The Chiefs are finished at worst 12-5.
Yeah.
At worst.
I'm not terribly worried. I'm just trying to I just figured that was a good question to ask after that weird loss to the Bengals.
I think red zone. I think pass rush. I think the solid offensive lines can keep the Chiefs in check. A little more experienced receivers will keep the Chiefs corners a lot more honest. But then my burning question here says the Dallas Cowboys have been dominant over the last few weeks. But can they keep this up when it matters most in of course, playoff football and avoid being the accident waiting to happen that they have been over recent years? And the one that Stephen A. loves having his DJ Steve Porter accident waiting to happen song playing in the background. As yes, Stephen A. Smith believes wholeheartedly that the Dallas Cowboys are an accident waiting to happen. So I'm ultimately, my answer to this is going to be no. Because I don't think Dak can get out of his own way.
That's a good observation there.
Yep. So now that we've gotten through the recap of the week, we now will go into the film room. So now we both in the Army Navy game. Who do you have?
I picked Navy because why not? And also it reminds me of that song "In the Navy, in the Navy." All right. And then for the next game we have Shepherd versus Colorado School of Mines.
I am taking Shepherd here. They are more experienced. They're there for it. This is probably the best seating that they could really have other than hosting a game. The tough part about this is how does Shepherd adjust to the elevation? And then Western Florida Fair State. I took Fair State because they are. Yeah. And then you went with Western Florida to stun Fair State.
Bueller.
Fair State out of there is the number 1 seed, while Western Florida is the 4. Shepherd is the 3, while Colorado School of Mines is the 2. So we'll find out what that kind of looks like next week. But hopefully, while I'm on the way to Roanoke, I'm hopefully going to be able to try and have the game on. Try and watch the Shepherd game while I'm on the road.
All right, do we want to finish this out with the NFL and the film room?
Yep, we can finish out the NFL. We have the Buffalo and the Jets. We've both agreed. Philadelphia and the New York Giants. We both agreed.
Yep.
As we've taken the Bills and the Eagles. Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
I picked Pittsburgh just strictly because the rivalry is a mysterious one, and I think the Steelers might stun the Ravens.
This game is in, just to be aware, this game is at Pittsburgh. So So I'm still going to take the Ravens here because I think Huntley will find his rhythm again. Then we
And
both
then we
agreed on.
have. Sorry, go ahead.
Then we both agreed on Miami and the Chargers, and then we both have picked differently. For
I
the last.
think Brady is going to stun the 49ers because you have a inexperienced rookie quarterback with weapons that he has barely really used all that much. Yeah, he probably uses them in practice, but the Buccaneers still can be a fierce competitor. They showed it against a beat up Saints team that doesn't know what the hell offense is, and they barely squeezed by them. But I have a feeling Tom Brady somehow squeezes in another W against the 49ers.
The 49ers just simply because I think that Tom Brady will crumble against that pass rush. I think that defense of the 49ers is going to ultimately be what keeps them in that game. Next up, we have the color commentary. And this week's color commentary is called the Misery Index. On a scale of 1 to 10, how high on the Misery Index are really these situations? For the Baltimore Ravens, heading into a huge rivalry game against Pittsburgh, Lamar Jackson injured his knee in the week before in a game against Denver. How high on the Misery Index are you placing Lamar Jackson being out for an extended amount of time in the middle of a potential playoff push?
I would say that is a big on the scale of 1 to 10, that's a 9. Like, if that knee is broken anyway, or there's a muscle that's torn, he is out, and he also screwed up his chance at getting a big contract, like he skimped out on earlier this year. So it doesn't give him that much of a chance moving forward. But in a playoff push, it also just doesn't help him to begin with if he has a lingering knee issue or a possible ending of season.
The playoff issue is bad. The fact of the injury is bad. Huntley, if he can find his rhythm, especially early, makes this very interesting for the whole when it comes to really Huntley running the offense, which could be more effective. Does it affect the Lamar Jackson getting a big contract? Not really. Does it affect how much money is in that contract? Maybe. Does it affect the guaranteed money? It's going to kind of force Lamar Jackson to kind of have to take a little bit less because he's a little bit of a flight risk. But my misery index on this is not as high as it would be on the panic meter. I'm putting this at probably a misery of 6, but the panic meter is definitely where the Ravens should be a little more alarmed. Now to the 49ers. Jimmy G's broken foot has now caused him to be out for a while.
Go ahead, sorry.
Leading to a Mr. Irrelevant coming in to try and pick up where he left off.
Depending on how long Jimmy G's foot takes him out for, and if it means like that he doesn't get into like later in the playoffs, this could be, I'm gonna say this is a scale of 7 for me, because this could be bad for Brock Purdy if he does not ball out and do very well with a team that has the talent there. With Deebo Samuel, you got Christian McCaffrey, you got George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, you gotta be able to get those guys on your side and be able to use them well.
There are weapons everywhere.
Right.
So I don't see this being as high of a misery index, but I still kind of see it be around that 7 range because of the experience factor of Garoppolo.
Right.
You have the Mets losing DeGrom to the Rangers. If you are the Mets, even with the trade-off to Justin Verlander, to getting Justin Verlander, how high is your misery index sitting?
I feel like it's 50-50. But at the same time, I know how random Verlander is when it comes to just big situations. Like, I'm not gonna count this as a big situation, but in the All-Star Game 2012 at Kansas City, he was the starting pitcher in that game, and he did horrible in that. But when it came to actually things that mattered, like in the World Series or in the postseason just alone, he balled out. So I'm gonna say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably like a somewhere around a 5 or a 6.
I'm probably at about a 5 on this. The hard part about this is, yes, Verlander is pushing 40. And it's worried as to whether or not he's still got it. Now, we're going to put this to the flip side. If you are the Astros in losing Justin Verlander to the Mets, where does your misery index fall?
Oh, if you're the Astros losing Verlander to the Mets, where would I fall?
Yep.
I mean, probably not as far because you have the young talent in pitching with Valdez. You also have, um, I don't know if you still get Keaton McCullers, but you kind of have that option still technically, even though he went down for the year. Um, and then you have, God damn, why am I? You have Garcia as well, so you have 3 technically, really 2, but um, and then you have
There's a bunch of somebodies on that
yeah,
Astros rotation, but just no aces.
right. I mean, Valdez would be the next man up.
Yeah. So Valdez would have to play like an ace.
I would have to say, as far as Verlander goes, maybe a 4.
I'm probably gonna say it's a little bit closer to a 3.
Yeah.
Because
True.
Valdez has shown the capability to play like an ace. And that to me is pretty darn good and important. The Commanders-Giants game ending in a tie. If you're a fan of each of those teams, especially because you were wanting to win that game, where does your misery index set?
I'm gonna put it, since it was a tie, I'm gonna say 50-50 balls, so 5.
I think it is going to, the misery is going to be more favorable to the Commanders than the Giants. But both are kind of still in very, very dicey situations. The Giants have to go up against the Eagles after not being able to keep the Commanders out of the range of the hunt. But then you're having to go up against the best team in the conference that is sitting in your division, and it's the first time you've met them all year.
Yeah.
So yes, I am actually going to set the misery index on the Giants at right now at 8. That is an 8. Washington, I think you're closer to that 4-5 range because you have a bye week to prepare for all of this. You have a bye week to kind of get you to the Giants, and I think you probably should prepare for 2 opponents, but focus on the Giants early. Get into that game's rhythm, and then as you're preparing to go in between the flights, get San Francisco ready. Or kind of start the early goings of San Francisco. So I'm probably at about a 4 on the Commanders, but it very well could be a 5 or a 6 because of how the short week broke out.
Yeah.
Ohio State emerges as a college football playoff contender as TCU and USC lose, and Alabama also missing the college football playoff.
Shocker.
If you are a USC or Alabama fan, where does your misery index fall on this season?
I think the Bama fans are probably buying kegs of beer at the frat houses and probably drinking their misery away, but that's probably a little too far. Honestly, I think the scale's probably a good 6 or so because usually around every year they do pretty good, but this year just wasn't their year. They always have other times. It'll be fine.
I think for USC, I think you're sitting at about a 6.
Yeah.
If you're Ohio State, or if you're Alabama, that misery index heightens. You're probably sitting at about an 8.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna kind of skip the rest of these along because I think we're getting a little heavy. So we're gonna go right into the primetime game. On last week's primetime game, 5 locks were made. On the first lock, I was the first person to break the lock. The Chiefs did not win, so Ruckus was not able to break.
Damn it.
The second lock I broke through as Jalen Hurts scored 1 touchdown rushing. Jamar Chase did not get 1 receiving. I break the second lock. The third lock, Ruckus, you and I both broke locks as Hurts and Burrow both had more passing yards in each of their games. The fourth lock, both you and I broke locks again as the Chiefs and Commanders had both had more than 2 sacks in a game. Ruckus, you chose the Chiefs Bengals as your single game parlay lock. You failed the first leg as the Bengals led 14-10 at halftime. You failed the second leg because Burrow had more passing yards in the game than Mahomes. And you got the third lock, you got the third leg due to getting your 40-yard field goal. I failed my first lock as the Broncos led 6-3 at halftime. I failed the second leg due to the injury to Lamar Jackson. And then the third leg of that lock of the parlay, I got the 50-yard field goal I needed to get it. With the tie we had in parlays, we both got the lock. And I ended up winning 5 locks to 3. But today's primetime game is Deal or No Deal. Week 14 quarterbacks. So we have 20 yards a point, 6 for tutties, -3 for interceptions and turnovers. And you lose another 3 more on top of All right. So 20 yards a point for passing. 20 yards a point for passing. 20 yards a point for passing. 10 yards a point for rushing. 6 points for tutties. You lose 3 for interceptions and turnovers, but you lose 3 more if the interception or fumble is taken to the house. That is the rules for this primetime game for the scoring. So now we have our deal or no deal cases. The question to you, Ruckus, is which one of us is going first?
I'll go first.
All right. Very well. I have the cases have been shuffled. So what is your case?
I'm gonna go with case number 10.
Case number 10. All right. So now you get to remove 3 cases.
All right, let's start with 8 and 6.
So 3 cases.
Oh, my bad. 8, 6, and 3.
Okay. So the first 2 at case number 8. Ouch. You lose Dak Prescott. Case number 6. Ouch. You lose Jalen Hurts. And case number 3. You pick up Tyler Huntley. You got Tyler Huntley out.
All right.
All right. So your first deal. All right. So deal number 1. I'm gonna give you Daniel Jones versus the Eagles.
No deal.
All right, no deal. All right, 2 cases. Wait. Yeah, it's gonna be 2 cases here.
Okay. I'll do 5 and 7.
Okay, so for number 5, Jared Goff. And for number 7, Kyler Murray. Your next deal. Deal number 2. Deal number 2. I'm going to give you Ryan Tannehill against the Jaguars.
No deal.
All right, no deal. Okay, you again. We'll be taking out 2, 3, 4. You will be taking out 2 more cases. You'll be taking out 2 more cases here.
All right. 4 and 2.
All right. Number 4, you have taken out Deshaun Watson. And number 2, you also lost Mike White. Deal number 3. I think I'm going to have to give you the other half of this. Trevor Lawrence against the Tennessee Titans.
I'm going to say no deal.
You're going to say no deal?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So now I'm down to 1.
Yep. You have
I'm
3
gonna.
cases left. 1 case.
Okay, I'm gonna go with 9.
And what is your 1 case?
9.
9. You have lost Brock Purdy. And you are getting with deal number 4. Russell Wilson versus the Chiefs.
I feel like I'm paying punked. No deal.
The hard part is that you really got off to a very, very bad start. So the question is do you want to keep your case or do you want to swap it?
I'm gonna keep my case.
Okay. This is a disclaimer. If this quarterback okay, if Kyle Allen is not starting this game, you will have Davis Mills.
So you're giving me a second chance to back out and go for the other one.
Well, that was what I was trying to. No, if Kyle Allen is not starting, you get Davis Mills.
Okay.
You get Davis Mills, so you basically are getting the starting quarterback for the Houston Texans.
All right, so I should just put.
So you can't necessarily. So the reason why I'm giving you that stipulation is just so that if they all of a sudden make a last minute change and somebody's medically cleared to compete, it should be customary. It should be proven otherwise that, like, I can't give you a 0 for that. I at least want to give you like some semblance of a chance to fight.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, okay, let's go with giving Davis Mills to you if Davis Mills is starting. Now, if Kyle Allen starts the game, gets hurt, and then Davis Mills comes in, then that's null and void.
Okay.
Yeah. It's null and void if a snap is made with that quarterback at the helm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah.
All right.
I'm more so waiting for you to get your deal thing picked out, your case.
Case number 6.
Right. All right, and which ones are you gonna start with first for your 3?
2, 9.
You have another one.
What's up?
You have 3.
Oh, I said 1, 2, 9.
Okay, I just didn't hear you that first time. My bad. 1, 2, 9. All right, so Kyle Allen is off the board.
Okay, good.
Tyler Huntley.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
And
now that does mean that if Tyler Huntley was not starting, I would have had Lamar Jackson. But
and now for number 9, dramatic effect, dramatic pause, and we'll be right back. No, I'm just kidding. Number 9 is Jalen Hurts.
Okay, that's okay. All right. So what is my first deal?
Deal number 1. So
Okay.
Look here. I'm giving you Derek Carr of the Las Vegas Raiders against the Rams. Is that a no
Thinking
deal
this
or a
one.
deal?
Thinking this one through.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking this one through. Because I'm like, okay, Derek Carr is solid enough. And the Rams defense is bad enough that this is possible. But I still have Dak Prescott against why am I not seeing where the Cowboys are playing? Oh, I still have Dak Prescott against the Texans, but Texans are showing decent progress on the secondary. I'm gonna say no deal to be on the safe side here.
All right.
I'm gonna say no deal to be on the safe side. I've got a few great options left. All right. So I took 1, 2, and 9.
Correct.
A or let's go with 10, 8, and 4.
Okay. Number 10, Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray, okay.
Number 8, Brock Purdy.
Okay, that's fine.
Number 4, Sam Darnold.
Okay. I actually like this. I actually like where this is going.
All right. So, give me a second. Sorry, I'm trying to think.
You're in deal 2.
Um, this
I
one's
think I
tough.
might have picked one too many again, but I think we can just kind of make this a 2-1-1 round or something like that.
That's fine too. This is tough. How about Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Dolphins?
I feel like you gave me a downgrade. I feel like you downgraded me for that one. I feel like that might have been a downgrade. No deal.
Okay, sounds good. No deal.
Now the Russell Wilson one, I downgraded you because you kind of played that horribly. That was a little different.
Right.
But how many cases do I have left? I should have 3 cases left, right? Am I at 3
Yes.
Am I?
Yes.
Okay.
So you should
So
do
this,
a 1 and a 1.
no, I should be at just no, because I took 3. I took 3. Yeah, that should have been a 2-2-1. So I think I'm just grabbing one more case here, and then I have to decide.
All right.
So what are the numbers I have left? Just to be sure, I should have.
So you took 1, 2, 9, 10, 8, and 4. So
5. So I'm at 5, 6, or 7.
yeah.
5.
All right. Your number 5 pick is Dak Prescott.
Okay. All right. So that would mean that I have left Jared Goff or Mike White.
All right. So
This is where I hope for
This
something I can...
one, I'm going to
Good spot for me getting either a Joe Burrow or a... I think this would almost be a good spot. Joe Burrow or a...
I'm going to give you Ryan Tannehill versus Jacksonville.
What is this? What is this?
You just dropped Dak Prescott.
Like, what is this? This is almost like... I'm almost shocked you didn't give me Burrow here. Because I was playing, like, pretty well up to that point. Because I thought this would have been a good spot. Because the swing between Mike White's matchup versus Jared Goff's matchup is drastic enough that a Joe Burrow to kind of middle that is actually good. Ooh. But for Tannehill, the Titans don't pass. This is bad. No deal. No deal. But now I gotta figure out if I'm gonna hang on or if I'm gonna swap.
Alright. So you have number 6 in your possession, and number 7 is the other one.
Keep it the case.
I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, but number 6 has Jared Goff.
Actually am quite okay with that.
I mean, if you switched, it would have been Mike White.
Yeah, I knew I was down to Jared Goff or Mike White. I actually am having to run Jared Goff this week in my fantasy football matchup, so yay, I guess.
Yeah, I was so I wasn't playing it as far as matchups really. I was playing it just based off of like the talent of the quarterbacks themselves. So
Yeah,
that's why I did what I did. So if I sounded like if like my moves kind of felt like a ref whenever they make a bad call or don't make a call at all, that's fine.
Like I was actually trying to give you like matchups to kind of, because I'm like, I was trying to give you like a matchup that's kind of like in between somewhere along the lines of those matchups to kind of give you like a way out.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to get you out of that. Was what ultimately was it? Because with Russell Wilson, I was trying to get you out of that. Like I was actually trying to get you out of like having either Sam Darnold or Kyle Allen. Because Kyle Allen, you're gonna get murdered. You're gonna get murdered because it's the Cowboys.
The NFL is a mystery sometimes, but yeah, I do agree on the whole fact that Kyle Allen will probably be turned into roadkill.
So I was actually trying to give you Russell Wilson as a way out. It wasn't going to be a great way out, but it was going to be enough of a way out that Kansas City does have enough give in their pass defense to...
Yeah, but Russ is kind of a broke. He's broke goods.
But I had to kind of do something because I wasn't going to be giving you, because you knocked out like Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, like all the big ones were kind of like bunched together this time around.
Yeah, and there wasn't any obvious big ones either. Like obviously, if you didn't hear Josh Allen, he wasn't in there. Neither was Patrick Mahomes. Like I picked them this time around, so like I made it to where it was much harder to get like easier picks, I wanted to try to bring the spotlight to like backups and or quarterbacks that are now in the scene, like Mike White, compared to like who was there before, like Zach Wilson, or like now that Jimmy G is out with an injury. I wanted to see how like quick to jump to the gun you would be, like if you saw like, oh, you got a worse quarterback. Would I rather have Brock Purdy over Kyle Allen? Probably, but who knows?
Yeah, yeah, but I still think you got to have some of those instant starters there at the top to kind of give you a little bit more spread. You kind of got to spread it out a little bit more amongst like the ones that are the obvious starters, so that the hang up on playing like an ultimately great game is very minimal, because this is where, okay, if you were down to like having Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, or Patrick Mahomes and somebody reasonable, okay, I could give you say like a Josh Allen as a way out, or I mean, your first one with Derek Carr wasn't bad, as it was a very, very tough deal to try and analyze.
But then to go to Justin Herbert was a downgrade too. Like, I don't know. Am I all honest opinion? I see Derek Carr as a
You could have given me Kirk Cousins there, and
well, I felt like that was too easy because let's be honest here. Kirk Cousins has Justin frickin' Jefferson and Adam Thielen, T.J. Hawkinson. He has weapons. I feel like that would have been almost like if I gave you Josh Allen, in a sense. Let's be honest there.
yeah. But then I probably still, depending on the situation, probably could have still said no deal.
Yeah. All right, are we ready to do
like,
our?
Yep. Yep. We are now to stud and dud to try and close this thing out.
You want me to go first?
Yep. Go for it.
All right, my stud this week is Jalen Hurts for getting 380 yards. I believe that's mainly passing. I don't think he really carried the ball for some of that, but knowing Jalen Hurts being a running quarterback probably combined with that. So 380 yards and 3 touchdowns. Do you want me to also go with my dud, or do you want to?
Yeah, you can go with the. Yeah, you can go with your. Well, we can kind of save your dud because my dud is kind of like mild, so I'll just go through my stud. Honorable mention for me for stud goes to Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel for owning up to Tua about a mistake in their matchup against the 49ers on the sideline, as Tua was trying to explain something and take responsibility. McDaniel says, nah, that's on me. But my real stud for this week is my boy, Shepherd University quarterback Tyson Bagent, for becoming the new all-time leader in touchdown passes for a college player at any level in a 4-touchdown performance against Indiana University of Pennsylvania in the NCAA Division II quarterfinals, in leading the Rams to the semifinals, where they will be going to Colorado. This to me, I have seen this quarterback play ever since he was in youth league, and like saw him as like a youth league kid, then transitioned over to high school, then now to college, and I look forward to his seeing what his performance will be like in the Senior Bowl that he's been invited to, and possibly a potential pro team.
That'll be very interesting.
He's got the goods, and he's a small school underdog guy. It looks like it could work. But my not so great of a dud sorry, I gotta give it to Fat Batman, Jason Kelsey, for his pregame outfit on Sunday, looking like Doug Whitmore from 51st Dates, on purpose.
I love that movie.
I mean, is it a bad movie? No. Did it just make him look incredibly stupid? Yes. I'm sorry.
He looked the part.
I mean, he looked the part, but just the fact that it looks stupid just ain't it. It's like it's an Adam Sandler thing. It's like, I mean, there's some certain things with Adam Sandler movies that are just designed to completely look that stupid. I just did not want to see that replicated in real life.
All right. Live.
And then I'm sure you're gonna hit your little honorable mention with.
So my honorable mention for my dud, I'm gonna start with that first to be a little light. Jamar Chase with the taunting penalty, doing a make it rain impression on Justin Reed, as he got a penalty and then the rest pretty much told him in front of everybody to cut the shit out. As far as my main dud this week, I have Antonio Brown going postal, as besides being butt naked in a public pool literally months ago in Dubai, I believe, or somewhere around there. He has now gone postal, getting charged with domestic battery after throwing a shoe at his baby mama of 4. You would have thought after the first... I don't know. I don't know how people think having a bunch of children really solves their problems. And maybe Antonio was just having one of those fits that he has, but goddamn, dude. A baby mama of 4. I read this like a couple days after this happened because I didn't know whether or not this was a joke, like someone was memeing, or it was like an actual thing. No, this dude literally threw a shoe at his baby mama of 4 and then threatened to shoot if the police got close to them. The man went postal. I was imagining that he like got like paranoid about something at like a grocery store and then like held up a convenience store when I heard that he was in a standoff. That's what I originally thought in my head.
It's a head case who was associated with another head case. The second head case being Kanye West, who then is dealing with also the same type of cancellation factor that another head case, Kyrie Irving, is dealing with. AB just is not it. I mean, everybody's saying like, "Oh, it's the CTE. Oh, it's the CTE." You can't figure out if he's got CTE until after he's dead.
Well, not even that per se. He's just not getting help either to like help with his problems. He's choosing not to, and that kind of makes the whole situation even more of a issue because like I don't know if he's really getting help, and it doesn't look like it. So it's kind of like, okay, well, making an ass out of yourself isn't really going to help that. It just makes it worse. And even like the concussions aside, there are certain ways that people live life, and they play a long career in football, and they don't act up like this. Even if they do have like had concussions in the past and stuff like that, like there are good people out there that have gotten concussions and eventually after football did not go insane dramatically like this. I feel like it depends on your lifestyle, but also like how you behave as a human being, like how you were raised, what your lifestyle entails. Like if you're in a gang beforehand and then you get play a long career, maybe you act a certain way after that. Who knows? All I'm saying is this man is going crazy. You ready to Are you?
Yep.
Do you still have?
Go ahead and take us out. Yeah, go ahead and take us out because I already finished my dud.
All right, sounds good. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to the Ruckus and the Menace Sports Podcast. I am Ruckus,
I'm Spence the Menace.
and we'll see you guys in the next one. And let us know what you thought of the intro for that was introduced in this episode. Anyways, have a good night or day.
Yep. Have a good night, y'all. Or have a good one. Peace. Deuces.